Do you have a crying routine? We all go through hard, stressful times in life. And a lot of people out there, especially listening on the YouTube channel, they're younger. They're in that stage of, confused in life and they suck. And what do I do? And I'm scared. I'm anxious. And your emotions are really amped up and all that stuff, right? So we live in this amazing, awesome, kick-ass modern culture where you got to constantly show off and you got to constantly be cool. And you got to constantly be better than the other guy, right? The problem is we're still humans, and humans, like animals, have got to deal with their negative emotions in a very consistent, natural, normal way. I remember even just all the way back in the Old Testament in the Bible, like when a spouse would die, they'd be like, all right, you have a year off. You have a year of mourning, of absolute crying, and do what you got to do. And then at the end of the year, get your ass back to work. And so it was very interesting that they structured and kind of built into their law that, oh yeah, when horrible things happen to you, you need some time off and you do crying. In fact, other tribe members will come around you and cry with you. And it was like, I don't know, kind of like FESI, like they very much just saw crying as a normal part of the human experience. So for some people and some cultures, it's going to be very common sense that, oh yeah, I cry every other day in the shower. That's just what I do, and that's natural and normal, right? Now, for the rest of us, that's not natural. That's not normal. We're not in a household or in a group of friends or in a culture even where crying on a regular basis is accepted. That shows weakness and you suck and there's something wrong with you, right? I mean, of course, if you're crying, there's something, what's wrong? I'm a human being going through some hard-ass shit. There's nothing wrong here. It's totally normal. Something that I had accidentally kind of stumbled into at a young age, I don't know, it's probably like early junior high, just really kicking off a good long dose of very deep, dark depression, right? And so I got into this routine where kind of unknowingly I would go down to the schoolyard and I'd do some pull-ups and push-ups every night. While I was at it, since there was nobody around and I didn't have to answer to anybody, I would cry. And then this happened pretty consistently. Junior high, high school, even in my 20s, I would still go for walks at night and, listen to some Nine Inch Nails or whatever and just get anger and sadness and emotions out and cry and then just not tell anybody. And then I'd go back to my normal life and work on stuff and business as usual. This kind of habit has been something I've kept all the way up until my 30s and now still consistently. Even though I'm very happy, very healthy, I've got through all my depression and all those fun things growing up, I'll still schedule a time, probably about 3 times a week while I'm working out. I'll pump up the music, very motivational, high intensity music, and I'll just cry. Not for any huge reason, but just the emotions and the stress and the responsibilities. Now, because I'm doing it very consistently and frequently, it's just this kind of like small controlled burn. Over time, kind of come to not be ashamed of this, not try and hide this, and really kind of see this as a natural, normal thing, kind of like sleeping, eating, sneezing, or having sex. It almost feels like a body-oriented thing that I don't think you really want to keep that energy down inside. I think it's actually kind of healthy if you kind of get it out on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just kind of sharing that because I've talked to a lot of people the past few months. I mean, a couple of people every day. And there's a lot of people out there going through a lot of stress and a lot of hell and a lot of hard times. And you got a lot of work to do, right? On top of all that, you're bottling up all this crazy negative emotions and trauma and all that stuff. And then having the social stigma that you're not allowed to cry, or having the personal perspective that you're weak if you cry, fuck that shit. If I'm crying a couple times a week when I'm working out and I ain't no sissy, then you should be crying too.